Welcome to So I Married a Film Critic. I'm your co-host, Julia.
This is Barry, the film critic. Hello, everyone.
And tonight we decided to watch Fall, the movie that just came out in 2022.
A horrible thing happened to you. I just want you to be able to move on with your life.
Come here. It's coming up on a year. I have something that's planned, and I need a partner in crime. The B67 TV tower.
I haven't climbed since...
Becky, if you don't confront your fears, you are always going to be afraid.
Let's do it. Let's climb your stupid tower.
I'm so excited! Hey guys! Hi! I was really ripped. You're awesome! That is the Becky that we need for this trip.
This is sick.
Damn it, Hunter. What are you getting us into? Okay, so just stay behind me, one rung at a time. See? It's easy. You're doing great. Becky, you gotta come up here. Hey, trust me. What was that? Oh my god! Oh my god! Hunter, how do we get down? I don't have a signal.
The water is out there in that bag.
We have 50 feet of rope. I think I can drop myself lower. Okay, I'm gonna jump onto the bag. Hunter, no! Hunter!
Every hour that passes, the weaker we get.
If anyone called 911, they'd be here by now.
What is it that Dan used to say?
If you're scared of dying, don't be afraid to live.
This is not The Fall, Tarsem Singe's 2008 masterpiece. No, this is just Fall. That's all. Fall.
That's all. Okay, why did we decide to watch this? Oh, we were looking through all the movies, and this was...
That sounds okay. I wanted to see it. It was in the theaters for about 5 minutes. It didn't do well. It had a great trailer. It had a really attractive poster. It was a late summer attraction, and the thing barely even opened. My good friend, Michael McCartney, name drop, he saw it in the theater on a giant screen, and he said it gave him crazy vertigo, which is exactly what you want, because remember, folks, it's the magic of moviegoing. You're looking at a flat screen, but the way you need to see this film is engulfed by it. And Michael had that experience, and he said, like, at times he had to, like, grip onto his seat. He said that was the entire experience for him. I saw it at home, so I had to watch this movie for the plot.
Okay, but we watched the trailer, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm really excited to see this, but I'm terrified because I am afraid of falling. I do have a little bit of a fear of heights, and I gotta say, my palms were sweaty for the first 30 minutes of this movie. Like very wet.
Well, I am not afraid of something I would never do. This is like a movie about two people who go into like a grizzly bear cage with a stick and they poke the grizzly bear. This is a movie. I mean, there's all this build up to two people doing something that puts them in this situation where they are isolated in a crazy way. There's a lot of horror films like this. There's one called Frozen where two people are stuck in a ski lift. I think the most ridiculous one, though, I got to say, it was very inventive. It's called ATM, about people stuck in an ATM booth because a serial killer is trying to get them. That's a real movie. There's a lot of these movies where characters are stuck in an isolated place. This one wants to be, well, it opens almost exactly like Cliffhanger. And it proves once again that no movie will ever top Cliffhanger because Vertical Limit couldn't do it and this movie can't do it.
That's true. Cliffhanger is the ultimate. Okay, well, let's get started because I have so many thoughts.
So many thoughts, you guys. So many
and
thoughts.
so many notes.
You were watching and rewatching this movie like it was a Christopher Nolan movie. Like, what are you doing? It's fall. This is one about the two chicks who climb the... It's fall. What are you doing?
This script takes us on a wild ride, so I wanted to make sure that our listeners just went on that ride with us. Which, by the way, if you have not seen this movie, you should turn it off because major spoilers, and then come back.
All right, let's take the plunge.
All right. Ooh. Okay.
It's the level of wit at this screenplay, by the way. So prepare yourselves.
All right. So Becky and her best friend Hunter, who's actually, her name is Shiloh Hunter. I think she just likes to go by her last name.
Yes. And by the way, Hunter is played by, I think, Virginia Gardner is her name. And she was in the 2018 Halloween. She played the really wonderful babysitter who unfortunately meets a tragic end. I really loved her in that movie.
Oh,
Please
man.
continue.
Okay.
Backhanded compliment.
So Becky and Hunter are rock climbing with Becky's husband, Dan. Okay, this is like Mission Impossible style rock face mountain climbing. Like these kids, I mean, they're in their like early mid-20s and they're rock climbing this straight, vertical, sheer face. It's like, I don't know, what's that rock in Yosemite? I mean, it's like that.
Yeah.
You know, where there's nothing to grab onto and they have these pitons or whatever that they have to stick into little holes in the rock.
It's like that opening scene in Star Trek V where Captain Kirk is climbing Yosemite.
Yeah.
He is.
Okay.
Rather, it's William Shatner's stunt double who's climbing Yosemite.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, okay, so Hunter's just like climbing up all like fast and the other two are just taking their time and she's like, oh, you guys are so slow. Okay. At one point, Dan puts his hand inside of a small cave to put his little piton in there, and a bat flies out and freaks him out. He loses his footing and falls to his death. And that is our opening scene.
Yep. Thank you for mentioning Mission Impossible 2, which not only an underrated movie, but John Woo, the way he made that opening scene with Cruise, Cruise doing his own stunt work, that opening scene is so thrilling. The cinematography for this movie, for Fall, is by a guy who just goes by McGregor, and I'm very impressed with the way this movie was shot. The filmmaking is excellent throughout, top to bottom. I'll get a little ahead of myself in saying that the filmmaking and the visual effects are on a very, very high level, but the rest of the movie is not.
Man, he's a tough critic, you guys. Okay, so then we see that it's 51 weeks later.
That's so stupid. Why?
Why couldn't I just say 1 year later?
51
weeks. Okay. So obviously it's, coming up.
Oh my God, you guys, it's week 51.
We're coming up on the 1 year anniversary of Dan's death, and Becky is suicidal. She is now an alcoholic. She's estranged from her dad, who never liked Dan.
Played by Jeffrey Dean Morgan. And I think, and I love Jeffrey Dean Morgan, he's terrific. I think they shot all of his scenes in one afternoon. They're like, hey, he's on the set. Okay, get the camera in. Look really menacing. And can you look at your phone? Okay, good. And can you hug that girl? Okay. And we're good. Jeffrey Dean Morgan, everybody. Yay, thank you.
Okay, but he said he never liked Dan. He basically...
Dad never liked Dan. Dad played by Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
The dad never liked Dan. Basically thought he was kind of a...
Not good enough for my girl.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, I had another word written down that I won't say.
No, I don't want to get us one of those explicit tags.
Yeah. But the thing about Dan is he can't say I love you. This is like Dan's thing.
Ditto.
Yeah, it's worse than that.
Well, it's definitely not as good as that, but
no.
yes. Yeah.
Okay, so his thing is I love you is like 1, 4, 3. And so he taps 1, 4, 3. So I guess 8 taps on Becky, and then she's like, I love you too. It's really...
Is this why it's 51 weeks later? They're just a bunch of math nerds?
Yes. It's this part, I was like, what? He can't say I love you. That's the thing? That's really lame. Okay.
Not the only thing really lame about this movie.
Yeah.
Please continue.
Okay, so Becky is suicidal. She's like gonna take pills, and her dad tries to intervene. It's been almost a year, and Becky tells him to get lost. So as she attempts suicide, who calls her? Hunter, and says that she's coming over. So Hunter comes over to Becky's place. Now, mind you, I don't know how Becky has managed to stay in her house or apartment this whole time. I mean, Dan must have had a big life insurance policy.
Apparently.
Yeah, I don't know. See, these are the kinds of questions I have.
She's an accountant.
She's an accountant. She's like, oh my gosh, 143. I love that.
Do you think she has like scratch marks for all of the weeks on the ceiling?
Oh, that's sad. Like she's in jail. Oh my gosh. Okay. So Hunter comes over, and I don't know. They haven't seen each other this whole time. Hunter's just been traveling the world. She's like a YouTube influencer, and she...
What's her name? Isn't it? It's something.
Oh, Danger D.
That's it, Danger D.
Danger D. So yeah, she goes around filming herself doing all these crazy, insane things, and that's how she funds her lifestyle, is with her YouTube channel.
Yes.
So she comes to see Becky, and the plan is to take Becky to climb a 2,000-foot tower, which is twice the height of... Oh, I wrote it down. The Eiffel Tower.
Ah.
Okay.
Okay.
To give you an idea.
Yeah.
And to help her get her life back. And she said, we could spread Dan's ashes at the top.
And apparently this is a real structure, correct?
Yes. So the B67 TV tower is a real tower in California.
Kids, don't try this at home. Don't do it.
I guess it's in the Mojave Desert, but then I just read that there's also a tower in like Walnut Creek. I don't know. Who knows where these towers are?
Hopefully it's like next to Area 51. You can't get to it. Don't do it,
but
kids.
they're real things, I guess. So it's like one of the tallest structures in the country. And Hunter is just like, we'll go to the top. We'll spread Dan's ashes. You can like get your life back. It's time to move on. And I'm just thinking, this is the last thing that Becky needs.
So one of my favorite details is that there's a box with Dan's ashes that's wrapped up, just been sitting there, neglected, with like, you know, the cat bowl that's been neglected, clothing. Yeah, this is... Yeah. It's a disaster.
It's a disaster at her place. Mm-hmm. Okay, so Becky reluctantly agrees, and it's probably because Hunter is one of those friends that you just can't say no to. We all have friends like that, I think, which...
Now, this is a question. Did you see yourself in this film? Because you have a wild, adventurous friend. Could you imagine yourself doing this? Did you, put yourself in the film?
Because my adventurous friends would never put my life in danger. Oh my gosh, no. They know like how far to push.
Because I'm thinking about your college buddy. I don't know. Who I love, but she's crazy. I could totally see you two climbing a tower.
No.
If something happens to me and you want to scatter my ashes,
no, I'm not doing that.
Okay. Even if it's my last wish.
Your last wish is for me to scatter your ashes 2,000 feet up in the air? What if this happens when we're like 80 years old? Do you still want me to go up there?
Oh, that's even more impressive. Definitely. If you're able to do it at 80, please. Bring a camera crew.
Okay, so they drive out to this place and they stay at a little motel, but they're having dinner at this diner. And there's a lot of foreshadowing in this movie, you guys. This movie tries to make things very obvious for the film watcher. And what do you think about that? Do you like that? Or was it too obvious?
Well, tell me about the stuff that jumped out at you.
Okay, so they're having dinner at this diner, and Becky asked the server, like, hey, do you have a place where I can charge my phone? And she's like, no. And so then there happens to be like a little lamp on the table, and Hunter is like, just plug your charger into the lamp. So she takes the light bulb off and puts the like plug into... I don't even know if you can do this. I'm surprised they didn't electrocute themselves.
That's the thing. Like, I don't want to try this because best case scenario, it works. Worst case scenario, you really shock the heck out of yourself. So I don't...
Right.
Yeah.
Or
Again, don't try this at home,
yeah.
kids.
So it's
just
like
a movie.
foreshadowing right there. Because why would you show something like that? It doesn't
They make
matter.
a very big point to show this. Yeah.
Okay, so the next day they drive up to the gate of this tower and it's like, no trespassing. You will die.
And by the way, folks, this is where the movie should have began. And if you want, you could just skip to this part of the film because you don't need all that other crap. You're here to watch them climb the tower, which took too long to get to. So really, you could just get to this point. Just start with the warning sign and go from there.
Oh, well, that you could do that.
Mm-hmm.
So then they have to walk 2 miles to the tower, which right then I'd be like, really? We're going to have to walk 2 more miles plus climb 2,000 feet? I don't think so. They see like
She's Danger D.
Danger D. So they see a dead animal being eaten by vultures, and it's like just more foreshadowing. There's a lot of vultures in this film.
So many vultures.
Mm-hmm. All right, so they start.
And they're really cute in real life, by the way. I love how movies have demonized vultures, but I saw one up close a summer ago. I'm like, aw.
Well, you know what movie does not demonize vultures? The Jungle Book.
Huh?
Mm-hmm. They
Yeah.
turn them into the Beatles.
Exactly.
So
And adorable with the little mop top haircuts.
Yeah, there you
On the other hand, there's the Dark Crystal where the Skeksis look just like vultures, and
wow.
you got to watch the Dark Crystal. You'll love it.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
Okay, so they start climbing the tower, and it's like rickety, and they're showing like loose screws, and the girls are clipped to each other, which is good. Like they have harnesses and ropes and
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, climbing.
Clippy things. Yeah, we're both experienced climbers.
Climby, clippy things.
Climby, clippy things. Lots of grabby, climby, clippy things. Yeah.
So they make it to the top platform, and then they celebrate. They're taking selfies. There's like drone footage. They're hanging off the edge with one hand, which, by the way, how stupid. Like, literally, she's like hanging on with one hand 2,000 feet up in the air just to get a selfie.
Danger D. You got to get those hits.
Oh, and she's also like part of the movie. I didn't write this down, but she's like wearing a push-up bra so she can get like extra cleavage in her videos.
Oh wow, you waited this long to talk about that. Yeah, let's talk about that. So, like, this is a movie about starring two very attractive women who are scantily clad.
Oh,
and
scantily clad.
They're scantily clad, and the camera is ogling them within an inch of their life as they're climbing the world's biggest phallic symbol, which, by the way, has 2 circular orbs in the center of it. Yeah, I mean, It's basically, yeah, come on. And they're doing it for a dude whose ashes they're going to scatter across. Yeah, come on. Yeah. Oh, that had not occurred to you?
No.
Really?
No. It didn't. Wow, you see? And he thought I was thinking about this movie too much? No. He has...
Oh, this movie gave me lots of opportunities to think about scantily clad women climbing a giant phallic symbol. Absolutely. There's a lot of it in this movie. But please continue.
Okay. All right, so after they, take their footage and selfies and all that and almost fall, it's time for the serious part. And they spread the ashes, and Becky says some nice words, and Hunter like gets all teary, and they're like, I didn't think I would cry. So
it's so beautiful that Dan, his ashes, just like his body, fell from a great height.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
That's kind of...
By the way,
that's
title should be Fell, not Fall. Fell, because we see Dan fall, but then he fell, and the title says Fall. I'm like, no, it's Fell. He just fell. It's not Fall. He fell.
Oh my gosh.
Feel me?
Okay. Okay. So, all right, they spread the ashes, and they're starting to climb down, and what happens? The ladder breaks, and the girls have to stay on the platform of the tower. And
Right.
it is very dramatic.
Well, it's very almost near the very top of it. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is where
The top of the giant phallic symbol.
Okay, so the backpack falls onto like a dish, like I don't know. What kind of a dish?
The testicular disc in the center of the shaft.
Okay. Oh my gosh. Like 50 feet below them. And Becky's leg gets a bad gash. They have no cell service. But there is like a little box up there that has binoculars and a flare gun. So they're like, oh, okay, we have something. But their backpack is 50 feet below them with their water and the drone. So it's not good. So Hunter says someone for sure heard the ladder fall and made a call to 911 just to keep Becky calm. But obviously, no way. They're out in the middle of nowhere. Nobody can hear them scream.
Yes. And then we have, I think, one of my favorite red herrings, which is that a guy with his dog shows up.
Not yet.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're doing. Okay, sorry, folks. Sometimes as a film critic, I'm totally like, I'm totally roaring into it, and we're going back and forth. And sometimes this is your episode. Forgive me.
No.
You're doing scene for scene.
No, I'm not doing scene for scene.
No.
But there's some things that stood out to me.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, no, please. You take the reins of this.
Okay,
one.
because they're sitting up there. And Becky records Hunter, and these are some of the things that she says. I want to be remembered for my life, not my death. Should I kill Danger D? And become herself?
Right.
And then Becky says, I'll help you bury the body. Okay, more foreshadowing.
Okay.
I mean, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so they do spot that old RV. They do try to dangle their phone down to get cell service, but nothing's working.
Mm-hmm.
They decide to drop the phone down in Hunter's shoe. They pat it, push-up bra, vultures are circling.
Yeah, I like that the movie found a motivation for them to remove a push-up bra. But again, it's okay.
They needed to pat the cell phone.
You're absolutely right. Who am I to argue the integrity of this film? Whatever you say.
Okay, but because Hunter had to take off her shoe and her sock, okay, Becky notices a foot tattoo on Hunter, and it's the numbers 143.
No, I think we missed a detail that's been bothering me, but we'll get back to that. So
okay.
There's a build up to this premise, this idea that her best friend, that she's going to find out that Hunter has been cheating.
No, we don't know at this point. This is our first indication.
No, the indication is the phone video. Right?
No, that's later.
That's later?
Yes, this is the same day.
We see the tattoo first on the
Yes.
foot? No,
Yes.
that's the last straw.
No.
Right?
No.
Yes.
I just watched it.
All right. Again, I'll get in the back seat. Sorry.
Okay, no.
Keep driving.
The foot tattoo is our first indication that something is amiss.
We don't see it till she takes off her... Okay.
Okay, just go with me here. Okay, so 143. Okay, then we see the guy with his dog down below.
Yes.
Okay, and we see that her cell phone has been shattered, so the padded bra did nothing.
Yes. A waste of a padded bra.
A waste of a padded bra.
Tragic.
Okay, Becky throws her shoes down because she's trying to get attention.
Yes.
But the man can't hear them, and then they decide to wait till the sun goes down to shoot off the flare. Okay, because they realize he's in that RV. Then at night, this is where Becky's watching the wedding video and zooms in on Hunter's face.
All right, fine. This is so ridiculous. She has a wedding video on her phone, and
she's dancing with
Dan,
yeah.
and then she does one of these, she does a little zoom and realizes in the background Hunter's looking at them with a look of disdain. She's like, huh? Here's the thing, folks. It's her wedding video. You and I can attest. Although we haven't watched our.
Well, it could have been just like a candid
video,
no. Not like an official video.
Here's the thing, though.
Okay.
No. You and I, we have looked at our wedding video and our wedding photos with the attention to the Zapruder film. We have intensely looked at all of our wedding photos and pictures. You and I have gone through our wedding photos so intensely, we found that we had crashers at our wedding. Do you remember that? We found those two women in our pictures were who are they?
I don't think they were crashers.
They were crashers. They're they were on the horse and carriage. Who are they? And they're sitting at a table. We had wedding crashers.
Okay,
and we know that because we went fine tooth and combing through every photo because we're looking intensely at every and our wedding video. I mean, how many times did we watch that and show it over and over again?
Okay, I have to say something. We don't know how long they were married before Dan died.
There's no way. This was the first time. She's like, oh, there's my friend in the background. Hey, she doesn't look happy for us.
Well, okay, but
that's funny. She should be smiling. And we're the same way. I mean, I look at our wedding photos. I mean, if I'm like, hey, wait a second. He didn't look very happy for us that day. I mean, come on.
All right. Well, I'm gonna give it to I'm just gonna say we don't know how long they've been married, and also it wasn't like her look was like, I don't know, Damien from like an evil movie. I mean, she was just like she just kind of looked not that happy. She wasn't like giving him the stink eye.
If if I'm at a wedding and I'm watching the bride and groom dance and there's this chick standing to the side giving them that look, I know exactly what's going on because it's that obvious. Of course.
Okay.
Like, oh man.
Okay. Well then,
this isn't gonna last.
Okay, so she gets interrupted from her wedding video watching when Hunter's like, "Oh, we gotta fire the flare," so they fire it. The men see them on the tower. It's the saddest thing. Like they're
It's
like,
so funny,
and they're like, they turn on the cell phone line. They're like, we're up here, and the guys are like, what's going on? They drive to the gate, see her car, and steal it.
It's great.
It's such
Like,
a...
thank you. It's great.
I mean...
That's good writing. That's unexpected. That's cool.
That's very unexpected.
Yeah, I really love that aspect of like, oh, okay, that's a way to get rid of these characters who either, it's a horror film, they're either going to get killed off or something like this is going to happen. This was not the obvious choice. Look, you're talking about foreshadowing. There's so much obvious plot stacking going on here. It's a lot of stacking. The foreshadowing is something like, you see this because this is coming. It's a lot of that, and a lot of it is so blatantly silly in its obviousness. That bit with the car theft is nice because you do not expect that.
That's true. I mean, but they could have taken the car and then, I don't know, made an anonymous call to 911.
They're not good people.
Yeah.
They're hanging out at this tower in the middle of the night. These are not like,
That's true.
They're not upset. Like, what else is in this town? It's like that little creepy...
It's a little motel.
Yeah,
yeah. It's not a town. It's
yeah,
not.
it's an outpost.
Okay.
So, all right. So
Becky says to Hunter, like, Dan could never say the words "I love you." 143. And so Hunter basically tells Becky that she fell in love with him too.
Well, she notices the tattoo again.
Yeah, that's why she's talking about it.
Yeah, she knows the tattoo on her foot. Yeah.
Yeah. And so this is the part where I was like, really? She's like, I fell in love with him. He was different, not like the other terrible guys I dated. And I'm just like, blah, blah, blah. Like, Dan is not that great. Can't even say I love you. And then when Becky asked Hunter to be her maid of honor, so they were both dating and sleeping with Dan at the same time while I guess Dan and Becky were engaged.
Dan was a bad boy.
Very bad boy. And then Becky's like, Hunter, be my maid of honor. And she breaks it off with Dan after that, apparently. But after Dan died, she said she ran away. She just couldn't handle being there for Becky. So, like, this makes it seem like the time between him cheating on Becky, getting engaged, getting married, and then him dying, and then a year later, like, it's not like this happened in like a 10-year time span. I'm thinking this happened in like 2 or 3 years, all this stuff.
What I'm thinking is there's no way that she didn't see that tattoo before because it's on her freaking foot. She didn't get it like below her breast. It's not on her butt. It's not like underneath her armpit, which is where it should be. She put it on her freaking foot. So of course she's going to see it because these two are besties. Don't they go to the sauna together? Don't they go swimming together? This is the only time she's ever had a bare foot in front of her friend before. That's the most ridiculous thing. What a terrible plot device. There has to be another way for this revelation to happen as opposed to this contrived tattoo. Why would she get that tattoo? That's ridiculous.
And it was really big. Like, really big. It's not like it was like a tiny little thing. I mean, it's massive on her
She
foot.
should have just had a tattoo that said property of Dan.
It should have said I heart D, and then she could have been like, yeah, it's Danger D. It's my alter ego.
Or just like, Dan Zone with an arrow pointing up. That's totally why I wanted to climb this. It reminds me of Dan.
Oh my God.
My favorite part of Dan.
Ew.
I love you, Dan. This is for you.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So it's the next day.
Day 2 of this movie.
I guess. Like, I don't even know how many days it is. It's like 4 or 5. It's a lot of days.
We are supposed to, we're supposed to mirror their experience where we're losing sense of time because...
That's true. I did lose sense of time.
Well, they're dehydrated and their mania is kicking in. Desperation is kicking in. And there's an interchangeability to the time and what they're experiencing. So, yeah, you're absolutely right. Like, we don't know exactly... I think it's like 3 or 4 days, but we're not supposed to be clear about it because then, reality also shifts on us. But please continue.
All right, so we're about an hour in, okay, in this movie. Hunter decides to go down to get the backpack, okay, because it has the water and she's like, it's only 50 feet down and my rope is 50 feet. It's like, okay. And as she's going down, she says, maybe you'll get lucky and I'll die. Like, oh my gosh. Foreshadowing? Okay, so here's the thing. She goes down, she basically lands on the whatever thing that I don't even know what it's called, like a disc thing, the satellite thing.
It's the testicular satellite
dishes. It's like a
dishes.
dish, okay,
Yes.
like a satellite dish.
Yes.
All right. So, stop. It's not, oh my gosh. Okay, so she has to unhook herself from the rope though. Okay, so the rope is like a little bit over. She gets the backpack and...
Aren't you glad you have 2 expert climbers describing the climbing machinations of this climbing movie?
Okay, but this is the part that
She's got the rope thingy and the rope clasp and the rope thingy aren't working. They don't make the clicky.
Okay, you think 143 doesn't make sense. This part really doesn't make sense. Okay, because Becky's at the top, right? The rope is tied to the pole in the middle of the platform that they're on. Mm-hmm. So she could move the rope over, but she doesn't.
This detail bothers you so much.
The rope is like, so Hunter is on this satellite dish and she's like, I can't reach it. And I'm like, Becky, you have the rope. You could just move it. It's ridiculous.
I love it. This is the detail, not the I'm a cheater tattoo that she has blatantly on her foot. No, this is the detail that you're like, I'm no longer buying this movie.
Well, okay, because this is a very pivotal point, though, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So Hunter, grabs the backpack with I don't know, some selfie stick thing. And then she jumps onto the backpack. And she's climbing up the rope and Becky's pulling her, but then she falls again and lands back onto the backpack, which is so crazy. And then Becky has to pull her up because her hands got all sliced up. Okay, so now they're both back on the platform. They have the backpack, they have their water, and they have the drone. So they're trying to fly the drone, but there's not enough battery. Okay. So then there's a nightmare that Becky has that Hunter isn't there. And there's vultures circling. But then I'm like, is this a nightmare or was this real life? Because Hunter's lying dead on the platform and then Becky wakes up.
We'll go back to that.
Okay. So here's the drone charging idea, which they keep showing the light on top of this tower. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh, okay. They're going to try and do something with that.
They're going to pay off that restaurant scene.
That's right. So Becky, with her hurt leg, climbs 50 feet up and Jerry rigs this thing to try and plug in the drone, which she does. And I don't know. She's up there for what? Hours?
It seems like days.
It seems like forever. And she's holding on with this leg that's gashed and starting to stink, and the vultures are circling again.
Vultures really going at her.
Yeah. I don't know. Hunter's just down there you can do it, Becky. I believe in you.
A lot of vulture attacks in this movie.
Yeah. Okay.
Good vulture performances, by the way.
So the thing with the drone, they write a note with eyeliner or something and put it into the drone, and Becky flies the drone and it gets hit by a Mack truck. I mean, that was surprising, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You're not really into it.
I didn't care about the drone subplot. I thought, if the movie uses the drone to get us out of this, I'm out.
Oh, yeah. They
Yeah.
don't use it though.
Yeah, I know. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, I was satisfied with the truck thing. I wasn't invested in the drone idea at all. I really wanted,
Something else.
yes, anything else.
Okay. Were you impressed that she climbed up and like plugged it in?
I was more impressed that she was able to battle
A vulture?
vultures. Yeah, I love all the vulture attacks.
And
in
I
this
think
movie.
she loses the backpack when she's up there, which brings me to another point, because why are they not clipping themselves to this tower? Why are they not like clipping this backpack to themselves? It's insane.
Well, we should also remember that again, exhaustion, loss of water,
That's true.
how cold it is up there.
That's true. Okay. So now we're nearing the end. And this is where, okay, so Becky is just like, losing her mind. Okay. And she's like, okay, Hunter, I'll just like take your shoe and I'll send my phone down. And she's like, there's not enough padding. And she's like, well, let me just try. And she's like, well, my shoe isn't up here. And she's like, what do you mean? And so then we have the realization that Hunter is actually dead.
Oh,
and she's
man.
been dead this whole time.
Oh,
since
man.
she jumped onto the back. Well, since she fell the second time. I know.
What?
No, you were surprised.
Well, I thought, okay, cool. I mean, you've been stealing from Cliffhanger and 47 meters down. Now they're like, you know what? Let's just steal from Shyamalan. No one's going to see this movie. Let's steal from everybody.
I see dead people.
No, I'll admit, when she turns her head and the side of her head looks like the dude from Pet Sematary, yeah, that was great. I really dug that. That was a nice reveal. It's like, okay, that's right. This is a horror film. I like it. It poses. It's a bold twist. I respect it. I really do, because it's not that it's so original that it's so great. It's just that it's nutty, and it's complicated too, because then you have to make something like that work. And I don't know, because like let's talk about the dream sequence. So the dream sequence where she sees that Hunter is dead, that there's vultures. First of all, okay, so it's established that everything at a certain point in the movie, she's talking to basically her fantasy that
Of Hunter,
yeah, it's not a ghost Hunter, it's just her fantasy of Hunter. So it's crazy that her fantasy would be like, sorry, I'm like dead the whole time. So sorry, I'm actually down there.
Yeah, she's like, you really thought you were strong enough to pull me up? Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's odd because, she's using her backstabbing best friend as her spirit animal, which is odd because in a sense, I don't know, there's something satisfying about Hunter dying. But then the way the movie uses Hunter as like her Jiminy Cricket is it's a little odd. I don't know if it's
Yeah, but who else was gonna be her?
Dan.
Well, Ghost Dan is supposed to show up? That doesn't make any sense.
Don't drop my ashes. I don't want to fall again. Hi, Hunter.
He's like, ooh, you're both up here.
This is hot.
Now we're talking.
You climbed to the top of this? I like your tattoo,
This
Hunter.
podcast is going to get like an NC-17 if you keep going. Okay.
I like horny ghost Dan.
Horny Ghost Dan.
I like it. No, it's a different film.
It's a very different
Yeah.
film.
But all right, so the dream sequence. First, okay, so if she's up there by herself, did she pull the backpack?
Yes,
Is that
she
the thing?
pulled the backpack
Pulled
up.
the backpack. She, in her mind, she's pretending that she's pulling her friend up, but she really pulled the backpack.
Yes.
Okay, so that's how she has the backpack. I guess that checks out.
Well, okay, it's because Hunter attached the bag to the rope,
Mm-hmm.
jumped onto the bag,
Yes.
and then started going up the rope, but then fell.
Right.
And instead of landing back on the bag, she fell onto those satellite dishes.
Right.
And that's where she died.
And as a reminder of earlier, yeah, I mean, you were rewatching this scene very closely, and you're right. The movie does pause. This is a transitioning to a different part of the movie. it does indicate that, okay, so this is something is different from this point on. The way they pause on her looking over the scaffolding to see if her friend is there. So yeah, no.
Well, and the fact that they give her hand injuries, so literally she can't do anything, and now Becky has to do everything.
That's fair. Like I think they make it plausible. They make it work. Because it's such a goofy device, and it's it's been done so many times before. But again, I admired it because it's like they're taking a chance by introducing.
Has any other movie though had vultures eating the dead body down below?
Yeah,
really?
Yeah, there's been movies with mean old vultures. Yeah, vultures are demonized in movies. Mostly.
No, but like someone you thought was alive, because she looks down and sees that there's a vulture eating her friend, which is so horrific. And
this thing is PG-13, which is pretty weird because it feels like an R.
Yeah, it's pretty graphic.
Apparently, and what I was reading is that they basically cut out all the swears, and that's why.
Because there were so many F-bombs when they were filming, because they didn't tell them like, hey, it's going to be a PG-13 movie.
But it's a grisly film still, so
Yeah.
it's weird. It's very American. Where we, God forbid, you hear profanity or nudity, but oh man, the gore. Oh, we love our gore. PG-13.
Okay, so the other part, like right before she realizes, or we realize that Hunter is dead, and Becky remembers, is Hunter tells Becky like, you really need to eat something. She's like, what am I going to eat? Like,
this is my favorite
2,000
part
feet
of the
up
movie.
in the air. And she's like, there's always something,
Yeah.
and it's just so crazy. So we realize Hunter's dead. Then Becky just records a video message for her dad, basically saying goodbye to him. It's really sad. She falls asleep, and when she wakes up, there's a vulture pecking at her leg.
Yeah, and we think she's dead. She's seemingly unconscious, and it seems like, the movie's going to wrap itself up because this vulture is going to finally get to have a good meal.
Yeah, but no. Becky,
she set a trap for the vulture.
Grabs the vulture and breaks its neck.
Beats the crap out of it.
It's
so satisfying.
There's blood everywhere. And then that's her meal.
That's the thing that doesn't hold up for me at all because, it looks like she just plucks something from the vulture and puts it in her mouth. I'm like, a feather?
No, she
gizzard?
ripped it open. She has blood all over her face.
Do you know how hard it is to de-feather a turkey for Thanksgiving? It doesn't make any sense that she's just it's...
I know. She doesn't even have a knife up there.
Yeah, I know. She's just, come on.
I'm not saying it's plausible.
This scrawny old bird with this huge layer of black feathers. Unless it's a feather, what does she put in her mouth?
She's eating the meat.
What? How did she get to the meat? You need knives for that. Are her nails that strong?
She's that desperate. That's what's happening. Okay, so she gets enough strength.
A beak? A fingernail?
Oh, maybe she uses the vulture's own beak to open it up. Hey, that's an idea. She kills it, breaks its neck, and then uses its beak to cut itself open.
Yeah, this doesn't make any sense.
Okay.
Please continue.
All right, so she gains enough strength, and then there's kind of this the music where it's like, all right, our hero is gonna actually do something, so she...
Which unfortunately in this movie is Cherry Pie by Warrant.
No.
They invested in that song for this movie. Yes.
That's what the music is when she rappels down?
She's my cherry pie. Yeah.
When she rappels down to Hunter, that's the song?
No, when she's climbing, it's the one. That's clearly where most of the budget went to. They paid the rights for that song, so not only is it on the soundtrack, but later on she's singing it.
Okay, I'm past that point though.
Okay,
in the movie.
All right, so no, I don't know this. There's
no, it's not a song. It's just like the music where you're yes, it's the Rocky music.
Better
okay,
movie.
But not Rocky. Okay.
I wish it was Rocky. I wish we were watching Rocky.
Okay, so
Rocky.
She gets down to Hunter's body. She takes her shoe off. She gets a text to her dad, ready to send. She puts her phone in the shoe in Hunter's body.
Oh my gosh.
Inside of her body.
It's like, yeah, okay, it's still a horror film. Okay.
It really is.
Yeah.
And then she's like, telling Hunter how much she loves her. It's just
No, you don't. No. I mean, one of the last things she said before she ate it was, what did she say? Like,
Hunter.
remember right before
She's like, maybe I'll die. Maybe you'll get lucky and I'll die.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's where that ends. It's not like, we're still friends, right? No, I mean, like, that was, again, I don't think the movie uses the device of their friendship and the betrayal and how it plays in with Dan. I don't think it's thinking through those things completely. And it's trying to. But, the thing is, the movie wants to be about two chicks scaling this giant thing and all the things that happen. So I feel like it's overplotted, really. It's trying to justify its premise, but at the same time be a total exploitation film. The movie delivers, certainly as a thrill machine, but I think as a story, it's both too little and too much.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so Becky pushes Hunter's body
as she deserves
off the tower. And
just like Dan.
Just like Dan's ashes.
Ghost Dan's like, yes, here she comes. Oh, and she's got the tattoo.
Now Dan and Hunter are together.
United forever.
Oh, man. Yeah. That's crazy. Okay. And then we see Becky's dad drive up to the tower, and he sees the body bag and thinks it's Becky.
Jeffrey Dean Morgan driving up for his paycheck.
Yeah.
Before he leaves this movie.
And then Becky's like, Dad! And he realizes that she's not dead. I mean, I actually, started crying.
Boy, did you ever. It's like, wait, are we watching Terms of Endearment or Fall? Because why are you crying right now?
Because he was so worried about her and she was going to kill herself. And then she literally almost killed herself. And now she's here, alive.
Proof that Jeffrey Dean Morgan is such an amazing actor that in about 3 minutes of screen time, he could, turn you into a bawling
all
mess.
These emotions. My gosh.
And
then he goes, "Come on, let's go home." I'm like, "What about her leg? Doesn't it have gangrene? Isn't she gonna lose it soon? Why are you taking her home?" She was sitting by the ambulance.
Like, what are these feathers? Like, why do you have bird crap all over you? Is that a beak stuck to your chin? What the heck, man? What have you been doing up there? Were you dropping acid?
No,
seriously, why do you have feathers in your pocket? This is insane.
No, but the fact that, she's wearing a blanket. No, you have to get your leg taken care of, or they're gonna have to cut it off. And that's how the movie ends.
It's like a horror movie. It's like, okay, it's one of those overhead shots where it's like the cop cars are coming and everybody's walking away happy, but it doesn't work here because this is like the heroine at the end of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. This is someone who has undergone such physical and psychological trauma. There's no happy ending here. If there is, you cut to like a year, 51 weeks later, where she's coming out of the asylum, or she thinks that she's still up there. Whatever that ending is. But yeah, the ending.
It's too happy.
It's pat. It's way too pat. Because as this movie is showing us, you can't just walk away from this trauma. I mean, this isn't, it's not about someone who is stuck up there. It's someone who is stuck up there with her past. It's someone who was stuck up there with a mistake that she was not completely aware of.
Now she's going to have to process Dan's death, this stupid decision she made, and Hunter's death, and how she didn't know that her husband had been cheating on her the entire time before they even got married.
My alternate ending is like you cut to 51 weeks later and you see Becky in an asylum, and she's rubber room, and she's Jeffrey Dean Morgan again. He's like, okay, just give me a paycheck.
I'll come for one more.
I'll walk through this scene one more time, and I'll look at her in a really concerned way. Okay, $212,000. Morga Morgan, Jeffrey Dean. Okay, I'll take that. Thank you. Can I catch this today? Okay. So he walks in the scene and he looks at the glass and he's looking at his daughter, and she's staring straight ahead. They're like, is she looking at us? Like, no, it's a two-way glass. And she's looking at Dan and Hunter, and they're looking at her and they're going, 1, 4, 3.
1, 4, 3. Oh my gosh.
And then the title song, When I Fall in
Oh
Love.
my gosh. That's insane.
Well, and that's also the movie we just watched. How would you prefer the film to end?
No,
I'm
would,
being really silly, by the way.
Yeah.
I do. I like the movie, but just nowhere near as much as you did. But please, how would you have it?
This is like my experience with Don't Breathe. I'll probably never watch it again. But
Really, Don't Breathe is awesome.
Because like the first time you watch it, when you have no idea what's going to happen, you can't ever have that experience again because you already know what's going to happen. So watching it, just going in cold. I mean, I did watch the trailer, but the trailer doesn't really show you what happens after the ladder falls. So you only kind of get the first 30 minutes of the movie in the trailer, which is great.
Yeah.
Because you don't know anything about the next insane, hour of your life. So yeah, that's why I just enjoyed it, because it was so surprising, and I was like, wow, I did not see that coming. So I like, I guess, horror films like that, where it's not necessarily, super scary. It's just like, whoa, that was crazy. Yeah. So I wouldn't change anything, except I think she should go to the hospital at the very end. Don't go home. Get your leg fixed.
You think as he's driving away in his truck, vultures are just flying by, chasing?
Yeah, the vultures are like, I smell that leg. Give me that leg.
It's like a flock of vultures.
Yeah, exactly. They're like,
chasing
God,
that
I was
truck."
so close. If only she had stayed up on that tower a little longer.
Jeffrey Morgan's like, what? Are there birds following us right now?
Exactly. Oh my gosh. So yeah, that is the movie Fall.
I give it 2.5 stars. I think it's good on a technical level. The cinematography and certainly the editing and the sound effects. Yeah, all the technical aspects of this movie. It looks great. You showed me a little bit of behind the scenes footage of how they actually did it, where they actually shot it.
They were actually outside, no green screen. They were only a couple 100 feet off the ground, but they rebuilt the top of this tower on a mountain so that they actually had like the feeling of that height, which I thought was great. I mean, it's probably stunk for those actresses. I don't know how many days they were up there.
Yeah.
But that, I mean, you really get the feeling of like, oh, they are sunburned, windburned. Yeah.
It's a great piece of filmmaking, and I'll definitely see the next film this guy directs. He did a film with Jeffrey Dean Morgan and Robert De Niro that I saw in 2015, and it wasn't good. It was a film that went straight to the bottom of the Kmart bin. It was called Heist in 2015. It was just one of these things where nobody really seemed to be all that invested with it. It was just kind of one of these kind of tossed out run of the mill generic movies. But this is impressive. It is very persuasive. It is suspenseful, and if you want to see a movie about two attractive, scantily clad women climbing a giant phallic symbol in the middle of the desert, this is your movie.
They're not even that scantily clad.
Well, not only is Danger D,
showing off the D's, yes, for
there you
sure
go.
she is.
There you go.
But besides that, she's just wearing like a tank top and shorts.
The camera is ogling these actresses. Okay, you think Michael Bay shot this thing? Okay. So 2.5 stars for me.
Probably 3 stars for me.
3 stars. Okay,
because I had just like a really. It was more about the experience of watching it, not necessarily that I think it's some masterpiece. But I know it's a B movie technically. Like, wait, in your opinion?
Yeah, in my opinion, it's a B film. But I mean, it's a brilliantly made B film. I don't think the performances. I think there's the reality of what it would be like to be in the situation. And I think the actresses are not at that level.
Yeah, I think they would probably be way more freaked out. I mean, there are times where they're standing up there just like, oh, so nonchalant.
There's no psychological depth to the performances. The physical aspect of it is there. The makeup is helping. They're portraying in some cases the mania, but this is very much a psychological film, and I don't feel like. For one thing, I think the script is overwritten. I think the actresses are they're trying. They're trying, but I'm here for the thrills. I'm here, I think it's an overwritten film. And at times I felt like, can we get past the plot and more of the danglings, please? More danglings.
Dangle.
More of the clicky things not working.
That's hilarious. Okay, well, I mean, that's all I have. I thought it was great, and
No, thank you on your master class on Fall.
Yeah, you're welcome. He saw me watching parts of it again and was just like, "What?"
I'm always amazed at the stuff I catch you watching by yourself. But this is, definitely quite surprising.
All right. Well, it's not like we didn't watch it first together, and then I was just making sure because my notes were a little sketchy.
It was a nice surprise. It's a bit of a sleeper. So thank you, Michael McCartney, name drop, for telling me I had to see this film, and I'm glad I did. I'm glad I saw it.
Yeah,
it's memorable. I'm not going to forget this one.
and thank you, Aaron, for your Voodoo account. Because right now you can only rent it on Amazon, and it's like $20, or buy it for $20.
Or just borrow Aaron's Voodoo account.
Yeah. So hopefully by the time this comes out, there will be more watch options. And if there are, I will let you know.
Otherwise, we'll share Aaron's Voodoo account.
Yeah, we'll just give
with all
everyone
of our
Aaron.
listeners. Aaron is regretting the day he let us borrow his Voodoo account.
We love you, Aaron. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Good night, everyone.
All right. Bye-bye.